Hold on tight. The champ is here. Mikey is raising the roof. He is loving it.
Let's be real for a second.
Let's be real. I'm excited to be real today. Mikey Renault, explain yourself.
I don't hate Russell Wilson.
Todd hates T.Y. Hilton. I know why he likes Nick Foles. Do you know why? Because he scored 55 points against them in the championship game last year.
Running backs in Andy Reid's system is just fantasy gold mine. Sign me up there, man.
Yeah, and he's passing for 1,000 too, because his offensive weapons are shit.
Maybe. Oh my God, I can't even believe this, Eric. Todd comes out with some outlandish shit.
Come on.
But that one wins the night.
You deserve the torture of watching those games if you get them.
There's a problem with all those names. None of those guys are good.
Exactly. That's my point. That is 100% my point.
Hey. All I'm saying. Hey, I'm a very unique individual. You know, that's the.
I'm sure all the owners think so.
Oh man. Just when I think that they're out, they pull me back in.
Dalvin Cook, what a stud. Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the game. Devontae Adams, where was this last year? A lot to discuss on this Week 8 review edition of the MHA podcast. I'm Eric Lansing, along with Todd Diamond and Mikey Renault. We are recording this in person. We're all COVID-free, I think. And gentlemen, how are we? Any symptoms I should know about before we get started? I don't want you spitting or sneezing on my headsets.
No, I mean, hey, my temperature's at 97, so I'm pretty good.
You did your temperature today?
Yeah.
Wow, look at this guy.
Yeah.
What about you, Miguel? Did you take your temperature today?
No, but does your team being crappy, is that a symptom?
That is a symptom from bad things to come. That is for sure. Thanks for reminding me right out of the gate. I appreciate that. Yep. So what's ahead on the show? We'll get to that news, and there's a lot of it. We'll get to those MHA standings. We'll talk about the performances that were good, some that were bad, and some that were pretty ugly. So let's start off with that news.
To me, the most amazing thing about the news is that whatever goes on in the world, it exactly fits the number of pages that they're using in the paper that day. Interesting concept.
Some injuries to get through. Calvin Ridley hurt his ankle during last Thursday night's game against Carolina. There's a chance he could play this Sunday. And poor Mikey Renault and his hot tamales. George Kittle limped off the field after a catch on Sunday. He could be out from 2 weeks to 8 weeks or even miss the rest of the season. What's the latest that you've heard, Miguel?
I heard he's got a couple, bones broken in the old foot area there. And he wants to tough it out, but, I mean, they put him on IR, which means at least 3 weeks. So my guess it's going to be a little bit longer than that.
Did you pick up anybody to replace him yet?
No.
Okay, so he's still waiting on that. That is a tough break because he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Kenny Golladay dealing with a hip injury. That dude just can't stay healthy. T.Y. Hilton is now hampered by a groin injury. That should go well with his sucky play injury of the season because he just hasn't been good, but yet continues to be played on someone's roster. Some good news. Christian McCaffrey practiced in full today. Hooray! So he should be able, at least, I mean, he's still hopeful is what the quotes are, but he should end up playing, which would hopefully help me out this week. Other guys dealing with minor injuries, Darrell Henderson, Tevin Coleman. A lot of coronavirus stuff going on but we get onto this podcast. It's Wednesday, by the way, Wednesday evening. So there's a lot of that going on. Matt Stafford, one of those guys. Jamal Williams, if at least you talk about people that are fantasy-worthy. Brandon Ayuk from the 49ers. So keep an eye on all that stuff. Ben DiNucci will be benched in favor of other terrible quarterbacks, Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush. Boy, it sucks to have Cowboys on your fantasy teams. Am I right, Miguel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh. Something that does help me out this week, Myles Gaskin, who has 8 or more points in all 7 of his starts this year. Going to miss 3 weeks with a sprained MCL. And in that same news vein, the Dolphins acquired DeAndre Washington from the Chiefs to go along with the rest of those crappy RBs. I noticed no one picked up DeAndre Washington in the waiver wire pickup. And I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in doing that in the next couple days at all.
Nope.
Maybe.
Mikey did pick up Matt Breida, so
yeah.
running back going to get some reps. Not a bad pickup there. Already questionable. Speaking of those terrible Cowboys, we also had a trade in our league. Cooper's Cousins traded away Justin Jefferson from Minnesota to bye week for Pittsburgh's defense, and the Steelers, of course, play Dallas this weekend. So there's that. I don't know if that's if you guys want to say anything about that, but trade for a defense for a wide receiver always kind of, I should say a defense not for a defense can always kind of be questionable. We've seen some good weeks from Justin Jefferson. We've seen some bad weeks from Kirk Cousins. I know bye weeks trying to do whatever they can at 1-7. So they also have the Colts defense, so they were willing to give it a shot. But Cooper's Cousins, who's at the top, I guess feel like they can afford to get rid of Justin Jefferson and pick up a defense to help out his squad. And against Dallas, then you just never know.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cooper's Cousins. Some other good news. Michael Thomas is practicing, should play this weekend. Sure, Kilgore Trout is as happy as I am. We both have not had those guys in quite a while. We'll keep going here. We'll talk about the MHA standings. Cooper's Cousins still sitting atop of the MHA after a 6-2 record. Leads the 6-2 teams with 1,064 points. Dylan's squad uses a big performance from Dalvin Cook to take a 145-140 victory over a bye week, who, as we mentioned, having a rough season. They're 1-7. How about that season for the Gonzo Cats? Boy, they're having a good season. They've won 4 straight, and they escape a 2-point low-scoring affair against Todd's squad. Brady just could not get 3 more points. Such a shame. He wasted all of it against me last week. There are 3 teams at 5-3. Line Rip with his league leading. He leads all teams with little over 1,200 points. He mollywopped the Tamales, 163-100. Is that fair to say?
Mollywopped?
Mollywopped.
I just treat it as a good old butt kicking, but
I don't know.
Use whatever fancy word you want
Thank
for
you.
it. Took me behind the shed, bent me over, and the rest is history.
Yes. So NWA, they fall this week 2-5-3 after being on the wrong end of a close matchup with notorious CUP. CUP has won 3 in a row. They're 5-3 on the season, and that's who I get to face this week. Hooray! A couple of 4-4 teams, Eaton W's, drop kick those Lemonheads, moi, to my 4th loss in a row. And boy, it was a shellacking. There's another word for you. 157-100, and the Butterfingers also at 4-4 in 7th place. 4 teams at 3-5: the Lemonheads, the Tamales, the Belt Sanders, and Kilgore Trout, all in that order. And bye week and in everyone's rear view at 1-7. NWA falls in a 2-point squeaker to notorious CUP, 105-103. Yeah. So anything you guys want to say about the MHA standings, or say something about your team or someone else's team? Go for it.
My team's in trouble.
5 is 3-5 a troubling mark?
Yeah, 3-5 is a troubling mark when you lose your big-time tight end and you got a lot of bye weeks this week and need a win in the worst way.
Mikey needs trades now. And when you hear this on Thursday morning, he needs it Thursday because those trades go through on Sunday. So help Tamales out, or just watch him, struggle and laugh at him as it gets rough for him.
Hey,
I'm not laughing because I'm 3-5. So.
Me and Kilgore are going at it this week.
Oh, and he's 3-5.
Exactly. Essentially, this could be somewhat of an elimination game.
Ooh, you'd hate to hear that with 5 or 6 weeks left to go. That's tough to hear. Man, Todd, anything you want to say?
I'd probably say more of the fact the team's between injuries and COVID. Not having Aaron Jones, definitely hurting a little bit. I think it finally just caught up this week. Obviously, with Brady scoring 51 points, that helped a lot. But 4-4. I'm not panicking yet. Just dropped 2 spots down.
You dropped out of the playoffs, my friend.
But not
7th place. That's outside the playoffs.
Yeah, but not totally. Not 8 or 9. Okay, but no. And obviously
he said 8 or 9. He's talking about us. We're 8th and 9th. He's dissing us right in front of us. Do you want to smash him or shall I?
Take the way he's smashing that toilet.
Just kidding, man.
Oh man, yeah. So Todd's 4-4. Eaton W's is 4-4, and they're 6-7. So there's just 1 game back. There's 5 weeks left to go in the regular season.
Yeah.
Still time.
Yeah.
But losses are
and
you don't want to lose anymore if you're 3-5.
and especially to how you lose by. I lost by 2 points. That you'd rather be blown out than lose by 2 points. Because again, it was that first half. The Bucs offense just wasn't working. I was like, oh great, Brady's gonna score like 20 points, and Phillip Rivers scored 51 on my bench. I could be the dough of the week right there. But it got closer. So it's just more of, just watching the injuries, and hopefully I get, Aaron Jones back tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see.
That'll be tough.
Yeah.
A lot of COVID going around.
Yeah.
And he's still dealing with an injury. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our top performers. Who's the number one top performer of the week, Mikey?
Well, it was Patrick Mahomes. I mean, 77 points leading Allen's team was just flat out. He had one of those games, after coming back from a game last week against the Broncos where he had 29, which has got to be one of the worst of his career, to coming up to almost 80. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, a big day. Just think about this. Patrick Mahomes for Belt Sanders scored 77 points. Kilgore Trout had 93. So the Belt Sanders, who had 2 zeros on his squad, by the way, only needed 16 more points, and luckily was able to cobble that together. He did play Brandon Ayuk. Give credit where it's due. He had 18 points, and that's all they really needed. He just needed those 2 dudes and beat the entire team of Kilgore Trout. A lot of problems there for Kilgore, at least for last week. Definitely, man, that's Patrick Mahomes is the beast. That's the reason why Allen picked him number 1 overall. Todd, you want to give me another top performer?
I mean, I guess the obvious one, but Devontae Adams, Jesus, this guy is just like on a different level. Him and I'll kind of mash together, but Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf looking like the best wide receivers in the league. I mean, every single week, it doesn't matter. We were thinking, with Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have enough weapons. Well, Devontae Adams is doing just fine. He's
the only weapon he needs.
Yeah, that's he said. And I was telling Mikey earlier was, I think once Aaron Jones comes back, I'm not saying it's going to be a total drop off, but I think some of those passes and touchdowns will go to Aaron Jones. But because that's the second player that Aaron Rodgers trusts. I don't think he trusts anybody else on that team besides Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, really, per se. So I think that'll drop down. But right now, Devontae Adams is a beast. I mean, 34 points. Jesus, it's almost like it's nothing. Like you're just expecting him to put up 20 or more points every single week, like it's nothing. It's like it's at ease. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
He had 27 points this week, 34 last week. But yeah, he's still great.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Well, I just he picked the 2 guys on Aaron's team who scored 163 without DeAndre Hopkins. so essentially what you're telling you is what I said last week on the podcast, that Aaron's chances of winning 3 straight are very real.
Yeah, but
no comment.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Right.
I agree. Yeah, Devontae Adams is great. I don't know how you overlook Dalvin Cook, who had one of the top performances of all time. We'll talk about just a guy. I mean, he had 163 yards. He had 30 carries. 30 carries. He was the offense against those Packers. 3 touchdown runs, caught 2 balls for 63 yards, and another score, 45 total points. And how many points did Dylan beat Miles by? 45 points on the nose. Fun stat from that game, since you just talked about Devontae Adams. There were 7 touchdowns scored in that game between the Vikings and the Packers. Those 2 dudes scored all 7. How about that? And you guys ready for some MHA trivia?
Heck yeah.
That's my music.
All right, Brain. You don't like me and I don't like you. But let's just do this and I can get back to killing you with beer. It's a deal.
Get your brains out, fellas.
Okay.
We saw Cook score 4 touchdowns in a game. That's happened quite a bit in NFL history. However, there are 6 active running backs who have done it outside of Cook. Can you name them? And I'll let whoever wants to go, and we'll tally up the points to see who wins.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, that's right. He had 44 points against Dallas in 2019.
That was beautiful.
So, Todd, you get a point.
Fantastic.
Anybody else can go.
Oh, I know Derrick Henry is one of them.
Derrick Henry is correct. I don't have his point total. Darn it. No, I do. 47 points. He had 47 points versus the Jags in 2018. Good job, Miguel. That's 2 out of the 6. Anybody can go.
Zeke.
Zeke is Not one of them.
There's a really difficult one on this list.
Okay. If you know the difficult one, then go ahead and answer.
I don't know the difficult one.
Okay.
But I want to say that he played for the Browns.
No, I don't think so. One of these games came against the Browns. Happened last year. Remember, these are active guys, so these all have happened recently.
Okay.
And one happened in a playoff game. And I know that shouldn't count in fantasy, but
So
these are the 6 active running backs that have done it.
So it happened like in an actual NFL playoff game?
Yes,
Or
in an NFL playoff game.
all right. So one of them has to be Raheem Mostert.
Very good, Miguel.
Okay,
One happened in 2017. One happened in 2018. A couple of them happened last year, the ones we haven't gotten yet. One of these may have spurred an owner to draft them early because of that big performance that came against the Browns last year. Happened late.
Joe Mixon?
No. Came to a new team. He did it with a new team. He started that season, 2019, with a different team. Ended up with a different team, and ended up getting these 4 touchdowns in a game.
Drake?
Kenyon Drake. Very good. Todd has tied things up 2-2. There's still 2 left, gentlemen. Let's see. 2017 happened against Seattle.
Todd Gurley?
Very good. Look at you go. Todd is up 3-2. Mikey, there's one more left. You could tie it, or Todd could get it and take the win.
What was the other? What was the other year?
This last one happened last year, 2019, against Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina was pretty bad against the run last year.
Ronald Jones?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Huh.
I know this happened on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know if that helps anybody. I'll give you, since we try to keep these shows short, I'm going to give you this clue, and this might give you the answer. This gentleman was on my team last year.
Yeah, it didn't help me. I don't pay
Oh,
attention
come
to
on.
that.
That was only really good week I had. Remember, I was so bad last year.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think of a different clue without giving. I feel like that was going to give it away, 'cause I feel like that was my best moment of 2019. Was this moment? Gosh. All right, I'll just give you this clue. He was a 49er. Wow, really? That didn't help
Tevin
you?
Coleman?
Tevin Coleman, yeah, very good. He ended up having 36 points and salvaged one of a win from you. So, Todd, congratulations. 4-2 over Mikey.
Yeah, woo!
You can blow up my toilet anytime.
All right.
All right, let's keep going with the top performers. Anybody you want to mention anyone else?
Travis Fulgham. Obviously he's made the most of his. 15 points. Good on you on that one, Mikey. He's got a made do. Obviously that wide receiver core has been decimated by injuries and galore, but he's made the most of it. So, and he's the number 1 guy, wide receiver. So good on you on that one, Mikey.
Look, I don't have moral victories and losses, so.
That 15 points came in a losing effort.
Yeah, but
as did Robert Woods' 23,
That's
which was
right.
the best of his year.
Robert Woods, everybody. But yeah, that.
All right. Anybody else? We talked about DK Metcalf, right? Tyler Lockett ended up on the wrong side of that.
How about, I just want to give a little kudos to Gonzo Cats here because he did beat Todd by 2.
Yeah.
And he picked up Mike Williams off of waivers, I believe it was on Saturday, played him, and he gave him 15 points. So
yeah, you got to give him that kudos. That was a great move. And a difference-making move, no less.
Yes.
Because obviously Baker only scored 18 points. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'll win for sure. Yep. Assumption in fantasy football is the mother
Well, we'll
of
get
all.
to the worst performers,
Yeah.
which includes a couple of your team.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Okay.
Kind of in the surprise category, Gio Bernard had another outstanding game with Joe Mixon on the bench, 21 points, 61 rush yards, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and that Bengals offense continues to move the ball very well with Joe Burrow at the helm and Well, the wins haven't been huge for Cincinnati. The fantasy points definitely have. So thank you, Todd, for trading Joe Burrow to my opponent last week. Appreciate that. You're the best. All right, so if we have no other top performers, let's talk about some worst performers.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Mikey, you go ahead.
Okay. So my first one, I got to go to NWA here because Jonathan Taylor had the matchup set up for him this past week against the Detroit Lions defense. It's one of the worst against the rush. And to only get him 4 points, wasn't good.
Now, is that his fault? Or is it the fact that they rode the hot hand of Wilkins and Hines?
Well, from what I saw of the game, Taylor was getting the touches early, and he just wasn't doing anything. So the hot hands ended up being the hot hands because Taylor wasn't doing anything. So that's just kind of the way that it went.
Yeah, Taylor, 11 carries, just 22 rush yards, 2 receptions. He did have a goal line carry, couldn't bust it in, and then Jordan Wilkins had the next carry, and he busted it in. Hines and Wilkins had 17 and 18 points respectively. So, yeah, Detroit Lions still bad at stopping the run. It just Taylor wasn't able to capitalize while the other two were. Todd, do you have a worse performer?
I'll go with one of your guys, Darren Waller. Only 6 points. I mean, for one of the top-tier tight ends in the league right now, only 5 receptions, 28 yards against Cleveland. Yeah, you're probably expecting a little bit more from Waller. At least 10 or over, but not 6.
Well, the thing you have to think about in that game, and that's why I don't give too much crap to Baker Mayfield, while his 18 points are terrible. That game was quite the windy game. And the weather was not conducive to any kind of fan. I mean, who had good fantasy points in it? Maybe Jarvis Landry. But, I mean, you even talk about great tight ends. There's no such thing as great tight ends. Other than maybe Travis Kelce. Obviously I was hoping for a better day, but especially with the wind, maybe they go short routes as opposed to Aguilar or Ruggs deep. But I don't think anybody really succeeded incredibly well. I mean, Josh Jacobs did all right in that game, but for sure, fine. You want to crap on my team, then go for it. It deserves to be crapped on. We'll just crap on your team. How about Scotty Miller, who just piled up 4 points? Just an all-or-nothing player. 15 points one week, 1 point the next, 17 points, then 4 points this week. Boom or bust.
Yeah.
And he boomed, and he busted your team.
He sure did. And, I mean, I was like, oh, this, and because he dropped some key passes that would have maybe – swing to my favor, and just didn't do it. So, yep, exactly right. 4 points, and hopefully.
Wait till Antonio Brown gets there.
Well, I mean, I
hope
hope
to drop Scotty Miller in like 2 weeks.
Well, I've Godwin, so I'm not really too.
Well, that's the solution to everything.
Well, before that was
Gronk is still there. Mike Evans still there.
But Godwin's kind of that possession wide receiver that Brady trusts. Okay, all right.
Do we do a board bet going forward? Who's out of the receiving core?
Yeah.
Who's going to have the most points from week 9 till the end of the season? Is it going to be Gronk? Is it going to be Mike Evans? Is it going to be Chris Godwin? Is it going to be Scotty Miller? Is it going to be Antonio Brown?
I could.
Who is it going to be? You too, Mikey.
I'm just gonna go with my guy because I'm a loyal person. I'm gonna go with Godwin.
Is he gonna be able to play enough games to even register and count towards this board bet?
I think he will. I think he's had enough. I think he's had enough rest now. So he's ready to go.
Mikey, who do you think?
This is tough because I don't have the ability to see the matchups. But if I'm gonna go based off what I've seen, I'm gonna go with Gronk.
You're going to go with Gronk. I'll just go with Mike Evans to be different.
Okay.
I think that dude complains enough that they answer that squeaky wheel as much as they can, and I think he'll be on the field more. So we'll go with Mike Evans. We'll see how that all pans out. Anything is to be for fun. Mikey, do you have another worst performer?
Oh, yeah. I can't believe that you chose Scotty Miller off of Todd's team when you could have went with a guy that he just can't get right. Which is Deontay Johnson.
Well, I mean, I just had it in the order that I had it in. Deontay Johnson's on my list.
I mean, the week he doesn't play him, he just goes off for 25 points, and then this week he gets 1.
Yeah, and then he gets hurt. Yeah, I mean, I thought you guys were gonna go like Marquise Brown because that fool that's on
I don't
my
expect anything out of Marquise Brown
anymore. Yeah, that's gonna be but Yeah, Deontay Johnson, yes. But it's just more injuries. I think if he's injured, it just.
Oh,
He
wasn't
played in
injured
most
just
of that
last
game,
week.
and he came back in the game too.
Yeah. But I think they were just. But I think he was. I think the problem is because he was hurt, and I think they were just being cautious. But I don't know.
You'll get him right one of these days.
Yeah,
No,
well,
he won't.
no.
One more that I
Okay.
had was DeAndre Swift, another NWA
That's
guy, 1 yard rushing on 6 carries. He did have 3 catches, but Kerryon Johnson stole that one receiving touchdown. Since Swift had a 116-yard breakout in Week 6, he's in 2 games, 15 carries for 28 yards. So I don't know if he's hitting a rookie wall or the matchups haven't been in his favor, but it hasn't looked good for Swift. Anything else we want to mention before we move on?
I'll go one more. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, kind of teetering off a little bit. I mean, still, he's not a running back. You're still going to start regardless. But he, first few weeks of the season, he's like, oh, probably the best, rookie, coming out. But he's kind of teetered off a little bit too, So hasn't had his big, big games that he's had before. So.
Yeah, I mean, this has been his worst week by far. He had a 9-point game, but sometimes you're not too upset with 9 points. But, 5 points, the worst that he's had. He's had only 18 touches.
Yeah.
Since Le'Veon Bell came back. Definitely by far his worst, but I don't think it's anything. He's had 19, 10, 14, 10, 9, 20, 11. Just a bad week. He may not be that top number 1 guy that he was probably drafted for, but he's still probably fantasy relevant for sure. Mikey, you said you had another one.
No, I'm saving this one for.
You're gonna save it
for the dough.
For the dough, okay. Just some surprise guys. I just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was funny. Was Trey Boo Boo? Just because we were talking about it that Todd shouldn't be.
It's so totally fluky.
And
it's ridiculous.
it was the way he even scored the touchdown. It wasn't a catch in the end zone. It was a
Right.
snap from the center, and he ran it in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you can count on that.
See, this is what
yeah.
I'm talking about. Where something's that research just doesn't make sense. Pollen agreed with me, by the way. He was super thrilled he beat Todd because he was talking about. I don't have it in front of me. I have it at my desk, but he was like, "I finally beat Todd." I always feel like I never beat Todd, which is not true. He's beaten him, but he was really happy to beat you. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll go with what you say, Eric. Research doesn't matter as much as everybody thinks it does."
Well, hey, I was just glad I got a I'm just glad one of my tight ends scored a touchdown. That's all.
No. See, I always disagree with that.
I know you do.
I know.
I know you do. But
Because when you look at your rankings at
Yeah.
the end of the year, I guarantee you'll be closer to right than you think. Sometimes things happen during the year that kind of puts you off. My perfect example with this is going to be Josh Allen. Like the first 3 weeks made you think completely different than you thought at the beginning of the year, but he's turning back into what you thought he was.
he's turning back into the pumpkin.
Every week it's now 20-something points or 30-something
Look,
points.
I need 60 points from him this week, okay? He's playing Seattle. Don't mess this up for me.
Oh boy.
I agree. Right. The numbers eventually kind of
Even themselves out.
even themselves out is the one way to put it. But at the same time, you just mentioned it. Jonathan Taylor had a perfect situation to succeed, and he didn't, not because the research was wrong. It just this
Opportunity.
in the situation for the other two guys,
Opportunity.
and it sucks. And then I don't know how much research people do. Like I have rarely done research the last 2 weeks because I'm trying to get away from it because I feel like as much as I do, like the idea of research is never going to be perfect.
No.
You're trying to put it's like probabilities. You're trying to put yourself in the best position to earn fantasy points. Man, sometimes it just doesn't seem like it pays off, and it's frustrating. Other surprise guys, I guess we'll talk about DJ Dallas in a second. Corey Davis has played pretty well this year. I see he's had 8 or more points in all 5 of his games. He had 20 this past weekend, 8 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. I'm glad he's breaking out about 3 years after I really liked him.
True.
Thanks, Corey Davis.
You should have liked him this year instead of those first 2 years.
We all thought he was done.
Yeah.
And he was in an offense that didn't throw the ball that often.
Well,
But what do I know? Research doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. You guys want to talk about the Doe Award of the week?
Yeah, this one's going to be Doe of the Year.
Doe of the Year. All right, Mikey, go ahead. Let it roll.
All right. I'm going to apologize ahead of time, Miles, but I am so tired of coming on this podcast every single week and telling you to stop playing T.Y. Hilton. Like, just stop it. I've been saying this since, before the draft, I told people not to draft him, and then every week I just completely just shit all over him. Sorry, I couldn't find a better word. And he just continues to underperform.
Oh, this goes right into the Corey Davis situation, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
No?
Because, I would have said, yeah, okay, maybe it's a doe for Corey Davis, but I'm not going to go with Corey Davis here because the more obvious play was Boston Scott. When you really look at it, research or whatever.
Okay.
Like he was a starting running back against a bad Dallas team. Either one of them would have got him a win.
Yeah. It was just a 5-point difference is what Mikey's referring to. Scott had 9 points, and he went with Hilton, who had 2 points. Now, he did leave the game early, but if you look at his stats all year, which is now, of course, not popping up for me. There he goes. He's had 6 points, 4 points, 5 points, 4 points. He had a 9-point week, 1 point 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Then he had a bye, and then 2 points. Mikey's had enough.
Enough of Ty.
Stop playing him.
So he trades for Justin Jefferson. We'll see if he plays Ty this weekend. Oh, man. That's not who I thought the doe was going to be. Todd, do you want to mention it? Or do you have an idea? Do you have a guess? If you don't, that's fine. I'll keep going.
I mean, yeah, probably the DJ Dallas, 21 points.
So Todd's referring to his team, right? You lost by 2 points?
Yes.
So where was the mistake? I want you to say it so I can hear it and feel it. Watch you cry. Go ahead.
Scotty Miller Scotty Miller only 4 points. I should have played DJ Dallas instead. 21 points, and I would have won.
Well, and here's the big thing with this. Okay, I don't blame you for putting in Scotty Miller when you did. However, if you were paying attention on Sunday and you saw that Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde were out, that's when you should have made the move because you would have seen, okay, now I've got guaranteed opportunities for DJ Dallas. Where with Scotty Miller, you're not going to get those guaranteed touches.
Interesting. That wasn't even my pick. Oh. I thought for sure NWA was going to get the doe of the week. And there's a couple reasons. He lost by 2 to Notorious CUP. He even told me through text that he was blindsided by the fact that it was his boy, Derek Carr, that he played instead of Justin Herbert. Now, I get Justin Herbert's playing Denver, and Denver doesn't give up a massive amount of points. But we all, at least maybe we all didn't see it, but I saw that the win was ridiculous, and I was going to play Nelson Aguilar. I wasted a number 5 overall waiver to pick up Aguilar and saw the wind as I ain't playing him in that wind. And maybe he didn't see it, but I wouldn't have played Carr in that wind in that situation because you just don't know what's going to happen in those type of games. I mean, with 2 points, you can really go anywhere. I mean, he didn't play Claypool this past week. He ended up going, it was as his flex. I mean, DeAndre Swift, he only had 4 points. He could have went Claypool, has been playing well. Could have went Dobbins. Now, I mean, that's a tougher call to make over Swift, who's been a little bit better. But, I mean, with those different options, I felt like he should have won it. So I guess we have to kind of vote. I mean,
both teams in that game, NWA and CUP, both had quarterbacks on the bench that way outperformed their starters. With Stafford having 52 versus Wentz's 26.
Yeah, but he won, so he doesn't get the doe of the week.
Yeah.
Someone's got to win it. Who's going to win it? After we talked about it, has it swayed your notion, or are you still on the T.Y. Hilton bus? He's so mad about that T.Y. Hilton.
And for somebody who actually ranks T.Y. Hilton, I don't even rank T.Y. Hilton.
Let me say this. I love Miles too, but he has 1 and 7.
Yeah, that should be even more.
No,
so.
Should we be surprised? Is what I'm saying. I love you, Miles, but should we be surprised if he's playing him every week and he hasn't had a double-digit scoring output all year?
That he should have realized.
Like, should we be surprised that NWA made some questionable moves? Like he even mentioned it himself. Like I played the bias move because he's a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
He's going with Ty.
He just got Justin Jefferson, and he's gonna go with. Well, I shouldn't say I have Tim.
I just hate it so much.
Do you hate it more than the Tim Patrick over?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate it?
If I didn't have to keep repeating myself over and over,
that's about
again.
a 20.
Is that a 10?
That's like a
that's
20.
That's why
okay.
It's annoying to me.
Okay.
That's
all right. So with it being a 10, we'll give it to Miles. Miles is the doe of the week. Way to go, Miles. Get off the T.Y. Hilton train. It's wrecking you, man. It may have wrecked you for this season. Okay, so that was the dough of the week. That was actually fun. Anything else? I have the upcoming schedule. That's all I have left on my stats. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything at all?
Yeah.
Who should I start this week?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Please help me.
Well, here's an interesting one. Is obviously with, with the Packers and in the 49ers, COVID and injuries galore. Is I picked up Dexter Williams. Mikey picked up. If Aaron Jones is not playing, would you play? Would you play one of those guys if you had to?
Fuck no. If I had another option.
If
I didn't have another option, I'm going with the guy that's gotten some reps in a system.
Okay. Okay.
But you know what? You're
that?
the Trey Boo Boo wizard. You just pick up a guy and he scores a touchdown. I don't have that kind of capability. So don't go by what I say. I do research.
That should be on a T-shirt. I do research.
And on the back it says, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
What else? What else you guys got for me? I don't think anybody is. Miles is far back.
Oh.
And even if he wins his next 5, it'll be 6 and 7. So to get into playoffs will be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. But even us, Mikey, at 3 and 5, even Kilgore, I don't think we're out of it.
No, I don't think we are either.
But Mikey needs help.
Mikey needs help.
Mikey, wow, we never heard that one before. Usually,
Mikey, I'm going to ask you a serious question. You willing to give up Zeke?
Yes.
Oh, there you go, guys. So for those guys at the top, maybe you don't feel good about Zeke with the Cowboys and Garrett Rush or whatever, Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert or whoever the fuck's leading that group. If you can afford a loss or afford a bye week or whatever, maybe you guys can get Zeke.
Yeah, but remember, I'm not dumb. So
Yes.
serious offers only.
Serious offers only.
Yeah,
I know Miles, for those who care to know, Miles texted me and Kevin and Dylan saying his team's open on the market for trades. So he's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Kareem Hunt, although he's on a bye this week. But there you go, Mikey. If you need some dudes, maybe Miles will be willing to dance with you. But remember, he needs to win too.
if you had a Zeke's backup, maybe he'd more willing to take that.
Why are you talking? Why would anybody want Pollard? If Zeke sucks, Pollard ain't gonna be any better.
Pollard's actually been better, been a little bit better than Zeke has. But yeah, it's tough.
I'm with you, Mikey. That's all I've done all week is figure out what trades can I make. What can I do to get better?
Because I'm sure the waiver wire is just staring you at like, ugh.
I picked up Curtis Samuel, and I might have to play him in my flex. I hope not, but I might have to. But we'll kind of have to wait and see. I don't know. It's I don't think my team is bad. It has its bad moments, but yeah, my quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's just not the
scary. It's not. It's scary.
It's Halloween's over. It's scary.
Yeah, it's still scary. The election's still going, and I'm scared.
It's scary.
You guys can think of something else. I'm going to go through the upcoming schedule. Matchup of the week will be second place Gonzo Cats versus third place Lion Rip. So that could help one team or maybe bring another team back to the pack. The top Cooper Cousins team will face off against the Belt Sanders. Bye week will look to find his second win of the season against NWA. A couple of 4-4 squads going at it, Butterfingers and Eaton W's. A couple of 3-5 squads, Tamales versus Kilgore Trout. And 3-5 Lemonheads taking on 5-3 Notorious CUP. So that is the schedule. Yeah, so that's fantasy football.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
I'm glad I drank a few beers before this. I feel pretty good.
I don't.
I get pretty depressed on Sundays. I was like, I don't want to do this show anymore.
It's like, what do you mean?
I gotta start drinking more, and it just wouldn't be that serious. I'd be a lot happier.
Yeah.
Can I just bring beers over to your house, Miguel? Is that okay? I'll start at 11 because I feel like that's how early it. No, it starts on Thursday.
Yeah, sorry.
Stupid Matt Ryan. Golly. All right. Yeah. Last chance. Anything else you guys want to mention? That's all we got.
Yeah, that's all
We're
we got.
Good. 5 more weeks until the playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you need a win, you better get it. Could be the only top 6 teams get to go. So for another edition of the MHA podcast, Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault, hopefully we'll see you soon. Good luck.